What's up, everybody? I got Mr. Kenny Conwell here with us, and we are going to interview him today regarding some business questions that I think will be very relevant and important to what we discuss and what we do as a business and as coaching and different mentorships. And we're going to get into it. And so I met Mr. Conwell, or Kenny, if it's okay if I call you Kenny today. I met Kenny about 2 years ago, well, year and a half. I was battling a very difficult situation with my credit, and it was affecting my finances and what I could do as a business. And just to be honest, I'll just set the bar at this. When I started, before meeting Kenny, I had a 545 credit score. I think it was like a 540, to be honest, a 540. One of the, I think TransUnion was 545 and Experian was 540, one of the two. And I had bad credit, but I had so much speculation at the same time. And you can't have both. You can't have an opinion about something and you have a bad credit score to reflect. And so I really looked into his program, looked into what he offered. And long story short, I went from a 540, 545 to a 720 credit score. And I'm telling you right now, if I could do this, anybody could do it. I promise you. But it's not just about credit. It's not about the credit score. It's about business, how your credit score affects you as an individual, how it can affect your family, how it could affect your business and what you have. You can have all the ideas in the world, but if you're not financially responsible, nobody will take you serious as a business. And so I wanted to just pick his brain, and I wanted to kind of document our interview so I could not only myself go back and glean from his knowledge and wealth of information, but also share with you what all he has to offer, and also share with you how he helped me restore my credit, how he could help you also. Before we get started, Kenny, I want to ask you, how old were you when you started your company? What's the name of your company?
So the name of my company is My Money EDU. And when I started this company, I think I was, what am I, 33 now? So I think I was 28, 29 when I started this specific company.
Okay. 28, 29 now.
4 years ago, or close to 4 years.
20. Oh, wow, that's wow. I didn't realize it was that short of a time. And so I just want to give you a scope of what we're talking about and how serious Kenny is and how serious. Oh, yeah. How powerful this is. So when Kenny started at about 4 years ago, his average, I think he actually lost money putting a lot of money out there before earning income. But now, Kenny, what is your average earning a month?
So we do conservatively. I don't like to put it out there like that, but we do about $100,000 a month.
And let me tell you, he is what's the word? He is humbly saying this, that this is he may even do more at some point, but I know business owners don't like really talk about.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll be honest. I watched the. And the power behind that is not so much about what he makes. You'll hear, during the interview, it's how many people he has helped along the way. When you realize it's not about money, your heart really goes into it. And so before we get into this interview, I want you all to know you're not just listening to a novice. You're not listening to somebody who's trying to figure it out, somebody who just got into the game yesterday. You're talking about a well-documented, well-earned individual who has a lot of information that I think would be beneficial to everybody who's in business. You're thinking about starting a business, or you're in business and your business hasn't scaled or maximized to its fullest potential. This is for you. So stay tuned and listen to the remainder of the interview.
Yeah, I'm excited, guys. I'm going to share some stuff with you guys. Thank you so much for that, the intro, man.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So let me ask you this. So My Money EDU deals with credit repair and other financial services, correct?
Yep. Financial education.
Financial education. Why credit repair? What made you get into that specific arena? Why financial services?
That's a great question. So to give you a little bit of backdrop, I did start this company about 4 years ago, but before this, I went to North Carolina A&T, Aggie Pride. All of my Aggies watching this video and all my HBCU people watching this. I know he's an HBCU grad here, so Aggie Pride, I got to throw it out there. But when I went to the illustrious North Carolina A&T, I had started this journey back then, man, back in college. And make a long story short, my parents didn't teach me about money. I didn't know anything about money, and I knew I wanted to be a business person. So I went to this career development conference back then in A&T. This is like back in 07, man, 2007. And I got a refund check and I was blowing it. I was, doing bad. I wasn't doing what I needed to do. And this gentleman, he did this presentation on, entrepreneurship and financial literacy. And I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. So I went and I interned with him because I'd always been an entrepreneur my entire life. I cut grass, I washed cars, I raked leaves, the whole 9 yards. That's what I did. And this gentleman gave me the opportunity to really intern with him. And that's really what started my journey of getting into the whole financial literacy entrepreneurship space. So I said, hey, look, if I want to really be an entrepreneur, why not learn finance in the process? And that's what I started with. It was a company called Primerica. Many people have probably heard of Primerica. That's how I got my start. And I literally was just on fire, ignorant, and was just learning, soaking it all up. So when I graduated at the time, or even when I was at A&T, all I knew was college students. And I realized quickly that in order for me to really generate some income in Primerica, I had to go network. So I started networking in college. I started networking with professionals like mortgage brokers and real estate and people, CPAs, accountants, all of this. And that's how I, kind of got into it. So when I graduated from North Carolina A&T, I went and said, hey, look, I want to continue being a financial advisor. And then I partnered with a company, or I started working with a firm in Charlotte, North Carolina after I graduated. Didn't have to do like traditional 9 to 5. And that's how I got my start into it. And then going into this, I started, I was self-employed. So I was on 1% commission. So I was making some pretty good money. And the summer of 2012, so I graduated 2009, didn't have to get like a traditional job, did the financial advisor thing, did the insurance thing, really was just primarily just selling insurance and doing cash flow, and realized every time I would be meeting with somebody, they would either have a question about their credit or have a question about their cash flow. And before I can even help them, I realized that I had to educate them so much on those aspects.
Yeah.
So I was helping them with their insurance, their retirement plans and all this, but I would always help them with their cash flow and give them tips about credit. And my credit was fine. I wasn't doing anything bad. I had a couple of credit cards, got a brand new car. But this summer, really in 2012, that's when I said, hey, look, man, I really want to supercharge. I want to make 6 figures. Now, mind you, I was 24, 25 at the time, making about 60 grand a year, self-employed. So all my self-employed people, how hard it is to make 60 grand a year.
Amen.
I didn't realize how hard that was. So I said, let me supercharge my results, because I had a $14,000 a month in 2011. And like, man, if I got a $14,000 a month, I can do that again. So I went all in on this business deal, leverage my credit, leverage my cash flow, stop doing those daily activities, those quick wins that give you the cash flow, and went all in on this deal. Make a long story short, you can imagine. Deal didn't go through, lost all my savings, messed up my credit, had to move back in with my parents, car was out for repossession, hit rock bottom, right? That's what happened in 2012. And one of the people who borrowed money from me told me about this job opportunity in Atlanta. And, I said, hey, look, I don't want to humble myself. I gotta get a job. So I got this sales job, moved to Atlanta with my car, which was out for repossession, with all my clothes in the car. And I moved to Buckhead, Atlanta, could barely even afford the rent. Wow. And I got this job. It was a commission sales job, and I paid off all my debt. Didn't have any furniture in my apartment. Just really was just starting from scratch. And slowly but surely walked away from that job. So I moved to Atlanta in 2013, walked away from that job, January 2013, walked away from that job in September of that year. And then at that point, that's when I went out to go start doing my full-time entrepreneurship deal here in the Atlanta area. And at the time, since I was so familiar with insurance retirement, I was going to the senior market and helping them with their insurance, and then started making 6 figures. So going into 2015, that's 2014 to 2015, June, that's when I had my first 6-figure year. And my credit was still messed up. Wow. So I'm out here telling people about their insurance, their retirement, and doing my financial education stuff. But I never really readdressed my credit. I paid off all my debts. I got things rectified, but I still had those lingering things. And I still realized that people need to know about financial education. So that's what started. So I personally was making 6 figures, making good money. And then I was like, man, I'm still running into all of these roadblocks. And that's what made me start improving my credit. And that's how I got really started into it. So that's why in 2016, I started My Money Edu. Well, it really wasn't even My Money Edu at the time. It was KennyConwell.com. I started KennyConwell.com, and then it turned into My Money EDU. But that's how I got the start. It was more so that story and then getting into it. And I was already passionate about literacy. I was already passionate about financial services. I already got it and realized that before you even meet with a financial advisor, you need to understand some of the key things and be educated first. Then when you have your credit and your cash flow in place, that's when you can start investing and putting a portfolio in place. And that's kind of how I got my start, man. And then fast forward, 30,000 customers later, we've helped people all across the country, improve their scores, millions of points, negative items removed. We helped you. We've helped a lot of more people.
Man, I am a witness. Stuff that I thought would take, and I am not just saying this. And so what I thought would take a year or months, 10 months to clean up, Kenny and his team got taken care of in days and weeks. I had negative, not negative items. What do you call those? Inquiries. I had inquiries removed in 24 hours, which is unheard of. But again, when you know what you're doing, it's easy, right? And so, I'm the type of person, if I don't know, I know how to go to the person who knows. So I don't have to stress myself and worry. So, and I'm going to ask you this because I know, again, making all the money, being in great opportunity, having a degree, degrees, does not equate good credit.
No.
You could be successful and have bad credit. And so my grandfather always used to tell me having good credit is better than having all the money in the world. And I learned from you that your credit score is a 3-digit direct reflection of you and your decisions financially. And so with that being said, credit repair and rebuilding your financial identity, in my opinion, it's an urgent matter. Why would you say it's an urgent matter?
Well, it's so urgent because if we just stop and we listen to my story, and I'm just using me for an example, like when I moved to Atlanta, I had to pay more for that down payment for that apartment. I had to pay more for interest for certain things. And it was a lot harder for me, even at the time, because of my credit, to be associated with certain investment and insurance companies.
Yeah.
Like they would say, no, we're not touching you. So I had to really get that rectified before I can even get some additional certification. So for me, it was urgent because I'm like, hey, look, in order for me to impact more people, I got to re-practice what I preach, number one. But then number two, it's affecting my ability to get associated with and affiliated with other companies that I know my market, my community needs.
Yeah.
Because I'm not able to represent them. I know the other people are going to come. So it was a huge thing for me, and I just had to do it. But for you, the reason why you want to have it is because, number one, you may be getting prevented opportunities for employment because of that score, right? And it's the reflection of you. Number two, you want to put yourself in position to get more buying power, get more leverage, right? Leverage is powerful when used correctly. And then number three, there's so many more opportunities available to you. Like even as simple as this, I don't have my wallet in front of me, but when I do fly at this point, it was one point, I thought American Express was like so hard to get into. Now I've got like 5 American Express cards, platinum, gold, this, that. Yeah. They give me points to fly. I go into the Delta Sky Mountain lounges. So just small little things like that, really is why you want to have credit. And then, I remember this. I remember going into the checkout, and you guys know if you're watching this, I remember going to the cash register with my debit card and saying, man, I hope it goes through, man. I ain't checked in a minute. Let me make sure it goes through. But now I'm like, man, I know it's going to go through. Of course it will go through. I've got the money, and I don't even use my debit card anymore. I use my credit card because I get the points and the rewards. So it's just it's a huge thing, man. Like and then I can keep going about this, but the biggest thing is America is run on credit. And because America is run on credit, it's a reflection of you. So if you want to tap into this American system and really take advantage of everything, you want to use credit. You just have to. And your cash flow.
That's a great point. That's a great idea. So we're going to switch now from the financial. Now, again, My Money EDU. You can look Kenny up. His information will be in the video in the description, how you can look at his services. So I don't want to spend too much time, on the credit repair and the financial services portion. I kind of want to get into a small business segment. because not only does he offer these services, but Kenny is a business owner. He's an entrepreneur, meaning he owns and operates more than just this business. And so, what has and again, I'm going to let you do it. I can talk about this, but I'm not going to. I want to reflect this to you. What has running your business and operating a business? What has it shown you about you, and what has it just shown you about people in general?
Your business is a reflection of you. So if you don't like where your business is, then you've got some development to do. So the Kenny Conwell that's you're communicating to you through this video is not the same Kenny Conwell in 2007. Yeah. So I had to become the person I am today. And what I realized is that business has taught me a lot about myself and how I have to accept responsibility for things. And then in order for me to have a better business, better customers, better staff, I have to be better.
Yeah.
You know? So that's like that's a big thing for a lot of a big pill for people to swallow. Is like, if you don't like your business, well, your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So yeah. The other deeper part of that about businesses is it's forced me, even to this point, like I read business books all the time. I did a lot of personal development to myself at this point, but now I'm really on a lot more spiritual, intuitive, making sure my relationship with God is good, because you get to a certain point, especially if you're an entrepreneur and a business owner, where all the decisions are coming through you.
Yeah.
So you've got to be able to tap into the divine and wise counsel, and that's just like another thing. So your business is a reflection of you.
Yeah, I agree. I tell my church all the time, man. In the book of John, it talks about Jesus talks about balance. He says, "I wish above all things that you would prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers." So it's unbalanced to have a lot of material things, but spiritually you're starving and you're malnourished. And so there's a balance that's required. And he does want you to prosper. He does want you to live wealthy. He does want you to live healthy. He does want you to live your best life here on earth. But at the same time, you have to be equally balanced in your spirit. Because like you said, you will, as a business owner, get to points where you are the one that has to make those decisions, tough decisions. And no matter what everybody else thinks you should do, no matter what everybody else says you should do, you have to live with the consequence, good, bad, or indifferent, of the decisions you make. And so if I'm the one making that decision, I have to make sure I'm making my best decision. And to be honest, as a business owner, sometimes you don't have the privilege of waiting a while to make a decision. Sometimes you can make decisions right away on the spot. And it's not me. Sometimes I make decisions like, man, that was a good decision. God, you did that because I had no idea what to do. And so, yeah, I think that's a great point to make. And Kenny, I'm telling you now, for people watching this, Kenny and I have not had a prior conversation about what he's going to say. And those of you that know me, I say that all the time. You got to become better. If you want what's attached to you to be better, you have to become better, because everything that you do is a direct reflection of you, not externally first, but internally. So That's a great point. Did you, when you started your business, and I know you said, you had the entrepreneurial background and the mindset, but did you imagine your business growing this large, and how did you manage because you're bit now, I'm going to say this. Kenny went from making no money to 7 figures a year, which is an average of over six figures a month in about 4 years time. I make a little over 6 figures a year, and I've been doing this for about 8 years. So I know for me, it happened quick, and there were some adjustments I had to make to get used to that. But in his time frame, how did you, adjust to becoming just an employee, the 9 to 5, to full-time entrepreneur? Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs who are both by, they're entrepreneur and they're an employee. And so talk about the mindset shift, and also talk about the adjustment that you had to make personally.
All right. So the biggest thing for me is I've always indirectly been in some type of sales deal. So I always know how to sell. Right. So being able to sell has been pivotal for me. So even when I had my job, that stint, I had it for 9 months, and it was a sales job, and I only got one base check, and everything else was commission. So since about 2013, I have not had any type of guarantee at all. The guarantee, and I'll answer this question so that way you get it and then your audience gets it. The guarantee was my self-discipline.
Yeah.
So how I've been able to really maintain how I was able to go from 6 figures to 7 figures and then still be able to maintain this. And now we're focusing on how we can, eventually get to 7 figures on a monthly basis, is because of the self-discipline, right? So there's 3 things you really have to be cognizant of. Number 1, self-discipline. Number 2 is time management. So you asked me what time we can do. I said, well, can we do 11? And then we both blocked this out on our time and we scheduled it. And now we're doing this interview. So scheduling your time is very, very important. And then realizing that there's certain things as you start to grow in business that your time is actually more important than making the money, right? So you've got to be able to schedule your time, be self-disciplined. And I've already kind of said this, but you need to be able to sell. You need to be able to understand how you can convey your message clearly enough to make sure that you can help somebody move forward. And probably the biggest thing, I probably should have said this, probably not first, but it should be said, is you want to make sure that you have value to offer, right? You need to make sure that you have clearly identified the person's current situation and you clearly identify where the person wants to go. And then it's your job with your product or your service to come right there in the middle and say, hey, look, my deal is going to help you go from here to here and following these particular steps. And that's really a lot of how I've been able to do what I've been able to do. And you as an entrepreneur need to, number 1, have value. Number 2, be self-disciplined, right? Number 3, be good with your time management. Number 4, understand how to sell. And if you can do those 4 things, not really in that order, but those 4 things, you'll be good. But the problem is a lot of entrepreneurs say, and this is, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. You listening to me. You say, well, I quit my job because I want to be my own boss. Guess what? You go from having one boss to having multiple bosses. Guess what? Your customer is your boss.
Yeah.
Is your boss. Your employee is your boss. The bank is your boss. So what am I saying to you? I'm saying that your amount of self-discipline is huge. Do I want to wake up every day at the same time? No. But why do I do that? My self-discipline gives me the freedom to do the things that I want to do. But I have to self-discipline myself on a daily basis to make sure I get the things accomplished that I don't want to do, but I still have to do.
That's good. And self-discipline is discipline, man, comes down to just being able to have self-control over a lot of things. Like when you, I tell a lot of people in our business boot camp that we do, and when I'm doing some consulting things with, clients, I tell them, sacrifice is going to be the number 1 thing you're going to have to learn and master.
Yep.
There are self-investment. There are a lot, you're going to have to put out a lot before you get anything back. You're going to have to sacrifice friendships, some relationships, a lot of money, some hobbies, some habits. Your money, you say, hey, I got paid today. I got an extra $200 after paying all my bills. This money's either going to go to recreation, vacation, food, or it's going to go into my business.
Business.
Yep. And a lot of people have to realize, people need to see you're taking your business serious before they take you serious.
Mm-hmm.
And when they can see that you put value into your business. I know people who say, oh, I want to get into business. And this is a whole nother conversation. I'm going to do another video on this. There's a difference versus having a hobby and then having a business.
Right.
And if you really want to go that next level, I think a lot of people see the potential of being a business owner, see the potential of owning a business and the things that it can give you, but they don't see the work you have to put in. They don't see the endless nights. The employee gets to clock out every day at the same time, go home,
you get your check.
Same day and get a check, no matter how much they perform. I literally don't know. I know what time my day starts every day. I don't know what time it's going to end. I don't know what time my workload is going to be done for the day. Even though when the business is shut down and I'm still sending emails, I'm still writing reports, I'm still projecting my week out. And so there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into that. Time management is very important. Business owners don't clock out. And with business, and I'm going to get to my last question, but there's the reason I want to push business owners. If this virus and this epidemic has not shown us anything, number 1, it showed us that there's no such thing as job security. No such thing as job security. I know police officers that have gotten laid off. I know first responders that have gotten laid off. People think, well, they're in the need of the medical field. A lot of people aren't comfortable working in those endangered areas. And so if they have a family, they're saying, you know, I can't do this, and their jobs are laying them off. And so businesses are closed down, you know, moms and pop stores, barbershops, hair salons, restaurants, you know, they're affected by this. Waitresses, they that live on tips aren't getting tips. You know, there's no such thing as job security. And so you have to be your own. The only guarantee, like Kenny said, is self-discipline. And so if you're disciplined enough, if you want it bad enough, you can have it. And so my last question is, what advice would you give to a new business owner, somebody that says, hey, I have an idea, I have a concept, I have a product, I have a service that I want to, you know, I want to run with it. I want to make this a business. I want to eventually turn my full-time job into a part-time job, and I want to turn my part-time business or hobby into a full-time entrepreneurship, full-time business owner. What advice would you give them today?
Number one, you want to execute. You want to go out and just get some activity. Number two, you want to invest in yourself. And more specifically, my suggestion would be finding somebody or finding a process that is already proven. And if they have a coaching program that shows you how to do it, using that process and then following that to take your business to the next level. So if someone already says, hey, look, I have this specific methodology that shows you how to take it, hire them, right? Invest in yourself. So if someone already has a proven methodology or proven business and they have documented success that shows that they know what they're talking about, and they have a program that's showing you how to do it, then you want to invest in that, right? Don't be afraid to invest in your knowledge. Don't be afraid to invest in courses, programs, coaches, whatever it's going to take, so that way you can shift your mindset and get the actual principles. But don't be leery of people who are just trying to sell something just to make money, right? If they are selling you a course or a program, they should have the results in their actual life that they're offering to you. So if you would, which I don't have one, but if you were to come to me, I can tell you to make money, you know, because I've done it. And then the third thing is so number one is take action. Number two, invest in yourself. And then number three, realize that, hey, look, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, if I don't pass away or get sick, then I'm going to arrive at that point. So why not sow those seeds today of success, whether it's just something, even if it's an hour a day, 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, sow those seeds and be consistent. And then that compound effect is going to kick in. And then the fourth thing is personal development. Just like I just said about sowing the seeds every day, working on your business, you want to be working on yourself. You want to be working on yourself as hard as you're working on your business, because you are your current level of thinking brought you to this place. So obviously, if you don't change your thinking and get your knowledge up to a different place, you won't be able to get to a better place. So make sure you do that personal development. And he already said it before, but sacrifice. You know, you got to realize that, hey, look, if you're really serious about business and you really want to make a big impact, you're going to have to sacrifice things. You're going to have to sacrifice the going out, the drinking, the parties. If you're a single male, you have to sacrifice going out and seeing multiple women. And if you're a single lady, being courted by guys, all of that stuff goes out the window. You've got to sacrifice, because if this is really important to you, you will do whatever it takes. So that's what I would suggest if you're starting out. Take action, just take action, and then just figure it out along the way. And don't be afraid to invest in yourself.
Great, man. I really appreciate your time being with us this morning. Thank you for this wonderful information and wealth of knowledge. Listen, I'm going to put Kenny Conwell's information, My Money EDU. Check him out if you're struggling with your credit. You got some financial services that you benefit from. Reach out to him, and he will help you tremendously. Thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, take care of yourself.